What is going on, everyone? It is me again. It is HorrorFan34. I know it's been a very, very long time since I did a video where I sat in front of the camera or made a video in general. The last video I did was that ritual video from back in March a few months ago. But in between that time and till today, things have been extremely busy. During the month of April, Easter plans, Easter dinner, things like that. So there was a lot of plans with that. And then May rolled around, so, getting the heat wave coming in Memorial Day weekend, had a cookout, so pretty busy with Memorial Day plans. And also, too, during the month of May, had to get the air conditioner in because of the heat wave that's coming in now. And it's been scorching hot the past few days, or the past couple, last month or so. So got the air conditioner in. So you might hear that in the background. So I do apologize for being absent here. Just been busy with a lot of stuff, but things have been going smoothly over here. Things have been going great. And also, too, if you notice, too, this was not here in my last time I was sitting in front of the camera. This is actually a brand new lamp and a little stand right here that I sit my computer on, my MacBook on. And when I do a room tour, this stand right here is actually where I keep all my autographs at. So I got a little thing right here to keep my autographs in, so that way they don't collect dust or anything. But getting on to the topic at hand here. So I'm back. I'm glad to be back. So I figured I'd do a top 10 video for you guys. And I figured this would be a good one to do. Why not do a top 10 on one of my favorite action stars of all time, and that is Chuck Norris. Huge fan of Chuck. Huge fan of Chuck Norris. Enjoy a majority of his movies. He rarely ever made a bad one, in my opinion. In the 80s and the 90s, he had a lot of really, especially the 80s was his heyday when it comes to his movies. And I figured, why not do a top 10 favorite Chuck Norris films list? So without further ado, let's get on to the top 10 list. So I got the list right here just to make sure I don't mess up on anything, but here we go. So coming in at number 10, we have Hellbound. Pretty much Chuck Norris's last big movie, pretty much before he retired. And I think this is also the last film that was produced by Canon Films, sadly. But Hellbound's a lot of fun. Chuck Norris in Hellbound, pretty much, in a way, sort of like the precursor to End of Days with Arnold, because you figure Chuck Norris it's about a cop in Chicago. There's a murder investigation which leads him to Israel, and there's this demon from hell that him and his buddy have to take down. Sort of like like I said, sort of like the precursor to End of Days, pretty much. Because I think Hellbound was 1994, End of Days was 99. But Chuck Norris does a great job as, I forget the character name, but he does a great job. I really like his partner, played by Calvin Levels, who was in Adventures in Babysitting. And Christopher Neame, who plays the villain, the devil, the demon, does a good job. But Hellbound's a lot of fun. It's got some fun action here and there. Has one of my favorite Chuck Norris lines. You call that a punch? Now that's a punch. So, love Hellbound a lot. So that is my number 10 for Chuck Norris. Coming in at number 9, speaking of this, sticking with this 3-pack here, but number 9, Force Vengeance. Now, Force Vengeance is pretty much, and the best way to put it, it's basically about, it's a security expert played by Chuck Norris who goes to this casino because he's friends with the manager there, and the manager gets killed by these guys, and basically Chuck Norris tracks down the guys that killed his friend of the casino. And basically, this is I'm trying to remember what it was. I forget how long the movie was, but it's oh, here it is, 90 minutes. So you figure it's 10 minutes of plot and about 80 minutes of Chuck Norris just kicking ass. And I think Force Vengeance is a lot of fun. So, definitely, these two are definitely in my top 10 of Chuck Norris. I enjoy both those movies a lot, but Force Vengeance is a fun one. Coming in at number 8, we have Missing in Action to the Beginning. And the prequel to the first Missing in Action, even though this was supposed to be the first movie, but then the first one got screened better, so then they made this the prequel. But I really do enjoy Missing in Action too. Braddock, there's you have Soontek O as the villain, basically, rescuing people that are imprisoned by this evil colonel, pretty much. And Chuck Norris as Colonel James Braddock, has to go and save the day, pretty much. But I really do enjoy Missing in Action too. It's fun, it's entertaining. Definitely one of my favorite characters that Chuck Norris has played, Colonel James Braddock. But Missing in Action 2 was great. Coming in at number 7, going to this total attack pack, we go to my number 7 pick, which is Code of Silence. Code of Silence, definitely one of my favorites of Chuck. At number 7, basically Chuck Norris as a cop who wants to take down this deadly cover-up, and his subordinates kind of look down on him, and he's caught in this gang war, and Chuck Norris is the only one that's willing to stop this deadly cover-up by these dirty cops, so Chuck Norris just decides to kick ass and save the day, pretty much. Very well directed, also by Andrew Davis, who went on to do The Fugitive and Collateral Damage and things like that. So, without a doubt, Code of Silence is definitely my number 7 choice for Chuck Norris. It's a classic one, pretty much. Number 6, sticking with this attack pack, we have number 6, Lone Wolf McQuade. Definitely another one that's one of my top favorites of Chuck, where he goes after this kung fu master played by David Carradine. I think it's David Carradine. Yeah, David Carradine. I get all the Carradines mixed up for some reason, but yeah, David Carradine does an excellent job in here as the villain. And you also have, I think, what's her name? I think she's in here. I think Dana Kimmel was in Lone Wolf McQuade. She was Chuck Norris's daughter. I think she was in that one, who was in Friday the 13th Part 3 as Chris. But Lone Wolf McQuade, another one. It's sort of like a Western sort of like style for Chuck Norris. But that's another good one, too. I really like the back and forth between him and David Carradine. The great fight between them at the very end. But definitely another good one for Chuck Norris. So that's my number 6. So we have Hellbound at number 10, Force Vengeance number 9, Missing in Action 2, 8, Code of Silence 7, Lone Wolf McQuade 6. Coming in at number 5, getting into the top 5 now, my number 5, Invasion USA. It's Time to Die. Definitely one of Chuck's best in the 80s. Richard Lynch does a great job as the villain. Very fun, action-packed. Very well directed by Joseph Zito, who did The Prowler, Friday the 13th Part 4. Did a lot of really good stuff, and without a doubt, one of Chuck's best roles. Just an absolute blast of a film. Very fun, entertaining, and definitely one of my favorite characters that Chuck has played as well. I mean, what more can I say about Invasion USA that hasn't been said before? Number 4 easily had to be Silent Rage. Silent Rage is pretty much if you take Chuck Norris and you put him in the original Halloween, pretty much. It's basically Chuck Norris going after a Michael Myers type killer, pretty much, which is this guy right here. So pretty cool little thing here for Chuck to sort of be in like a horror film. And I think he does a great job as, what's his name? Sheriff Stevens. Does a great job. And I forget the guy who plays the killer, but the guy who plays the killer does a great job. And it's a really cool, like, moody, atmospheric, sort of like slasher, sort of like in the vein of the original Halloween, pretty much. But instead it's Chuck Norris. But definitely one of his best ones. Huge fan of Silent Rage. Coming in at number 3, going back to the total attack pack here, but number 3 is easily the first Missing in Action. Definitely my favorite of the Missing in Action films. Sort of like in the vein of Rambo 2, rescuing POWs in Vietnam. Chuck Norris does a great job as James Braddock. Emmett Walsh does a great job as his buddy who helps him out. I mean, what more can you say about Missing in Action? Also directed by Joseph Zito as well. I forgot to mention that. But what more can you say about Missing in Action that hasn't been said before? It's definitely one of Chuck's best films as well. Coming in at number 2, going back to the total attack pack again. This was, without a doubt, my number 2. The Delta Force. Another one that's great for Chuck. In a way, sort of, too. If you think about the Delta Force, it's really kind of 2 movies in one. Because I know the first half doesn't have much of Chuck Norris or Lee Marvin. It's more about the hostages and the terrorists that take over, headed by Robert Forster. So the first half of the film is more about the terrorists taking over these hostages and things like that. And that's like the first half of the film. And then the second half is just kick-ass, balls-to-the-wall action where Chuck Norris has the motorcycle with the missiles and Lee Marvin. Great addition of Lee Marvin. And I forget who directed the Delta Force. I forget who it was. Menem Golan, that's right. The guy that did, I believe, Over the Top and everything, who worked for Canon Films. But, and some of the hostages that you have Martin Balsam, who was in the original Psycho, George Kennedy, may he rest in peace, Creepshow 2, Cool Hand Luke, and the Naked Gun movies. Shelley Winters, who was in the original Poseidon Adventure. She's one of the hostages. You also have Robert Vaughn. Very well done musical score by Alan Silvestri. I mean, the Delta Force is great. And of course, my number 1 favorite Chuck Norris film is probably going to be a surprise to a lot of people. But for some reason, this is my favorite one, my number 1. The Hero and the Terror. Now, I one of the other few films that he did that was sort of like a horror film, like Silent Rage and Hellbound, where Chuck Norris goes after Simon Moon, who's a serial killer who likes to break people's necks and everything, and Chuck Norris was the guy who captured him. They called him the hero that stopped the terror, but he was like, I wish people would stop calling me that because I wasn't really a hero. I just got lucky. But this killer has escaped from jail once again, and Chuck Norris has to go after him again. And I really love the whole finale, too, where it's sort of like a Phantom of the Opera vibe, where the killer hides in this movie theater, and Chuck Norris has to crawl through everything to go look for the killer in this movie theater. Like I said, it has a little bit of a Phantom of the Opera vibe in the finale, but I think that this is a great, excellent performance by Chuck Norris. I really like Jack O'Halloran as Simon Moon. You have Steve James in the film as well. But without a doubt, my personal favorite Chuck Norris film. Without a doubt. So there you guys have it. That is my top 10 favorite Chuck Norris films. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.